Live hiphopdaily.tv.
All right, we back. Cash Color Cannabis Podcast. It's your boy Mecca. We out here live hiphopdaily.tv. Got my man Hop producing the show. He on the other side, multitasking as usual. As I told you, I got a guest in the house today. This is my man Stanley Atkins. Stanley, introduce yourself, man.
How's it going? I'm Stanley Atkins II. I'm known in the cannabis industry as TheCanniMedic, and the way I came about that is I'm a cannabis advocate, educator, but I'm also a paramedic. So my approach to cannabis was a lot different than a lot of other people. I was a cannabis advocate before I even knew I was a cannabis advocate. Yeah. I became a cannabis advocate when I was about 12, 13. Yeah. First time I started smoking, I got kicked out of high school for possession with intent to distribute. It sent me to alternative school. So when they sent me to alternative school.
Where you from? Where they kicked you out for that?
Oh, Griffin High School down in Griffin, Georgia. Shout out to Griffin, Georgia. I'm originally from Griffin, Georgia, a little town down in the country.
Blessed, I was born in Boston, man. They didn't care about nothing, dude. I swear to God, dog, like on everything. I was tardy 42 times once. They barely even knew you was there.
Yeah, so they kicked me out with intent to distribute, so they sent me to alternative school. So I get to alternative school and I get student of the year. Because I was always a stoner, but I was never stupid. Because one thing with being a stoner, we have to break the stigma that we are intellectuals.
Oh, of course.
So I graduated high school, and it was funny because in high school I found out that normal existed. Yeah. And I was always big, and the people in high school knew me. If you knew me in high school, you knew me for cannabis. I smelled like it everywhere we went.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that as a paramedic, man. If you pulled up in my house and you smelled like weed, I might send you back.
That's the intriguing point because I ended up going to the military, military veteran, United States Navy, 2 tours into the Gulf. I actually got discharged after my second deployment for smoking cannabis. I chose that as a form of medication after going to rehab for alcoholism. So I chose a healthier form of medication for my own self and was discharged for it. But hey, it led me to where I am today. The way I became a paramedic was I came home. I was arrested 30 days to the day when I returned from the Gulf for possession of cannabis. I had 3 grams of Granddaddy Perp, headed down to Savannah State to see my brother for homecoming. I ain't seen in years. And so they put an end to that. So I went down. They got me in the system, the probation and all that, which is just funds the privatized prison system.
Oh, we're going to get into that but keep going.
So I applied for the fire department. And they called, and the fire chief was like, wait a minute. You're telling me you're applying for my position, and you're on state probation for smoking weed? And I said, it's up to me to ask. It's up to you to say no. He hired me. Became a Clayton County firefighter. Adapted to it very well. Yeah. Decided to take the medical aspect, because there were EMTs as well. Yeah. I decided to take it further and go into the paramedic realm. So I wasn't smoking every now and then, maybe a few times a year. Yeah. But for the most part, I actually became ill in 2014. They initially thought it was gallbladder cancer. It wasn't. But unfortunately, it forced me out of my position at the fire department. I've been down the addiction road with Oxycontin, you name the opioid, I've been there. The procedures from endoscopies to HIDA scans to everything. I found cannabis. I got my hand on some cannabis concentrates. I was able to regain my weight. And I start advocating. Yeah. And what I wanted to do was always learn more about cannabis. So what I did was, they say you want to hide something from somebody, from a black man, you put it in a book. Well, that's where I go to find most things that I enjoy. So I started doing my cannabis education. I'm learning about the endocannabinoid system and how it therapeutically helped me, and how the pharmacological effects they vastly exceed anything that we know in medicine. Yeah. And I feel like as the African American community, we are the minority when it comes to population, but why are the majority when it comes to healthcare? Our African American females lead the nation in cardiovascular disease, heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, but yet they're the minority, and this is about our healthcare.
And this is all things that can be, well, not necessarily, let's not say the word cured, but these are all things that could be assisted and helped as far as some of the ailments that you go through, and definitely some of the sicknesses using cannabis.
Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. One thing that the growing cannabis population of users right now is the elderly, and that is people 55 years and older. So if you're 55, I'm not calling you elderly, but for demographics, that's the number we're going to use, because patients,
marketing purposes.
Exactly. Patients in that age group, they're tired of going to the medicine cabinet. I've got to take this for blood pressure, this for cholesterol, this for diabetes, this for gout, this for endometriosis. I got to take this for my hernia. I take this for my osteoarthritis. When I can actually just put all those away and take a dab.
Now, one thing is one thing that's funny. All those things you just mentioned, right, from all those pills and all those things that you have access to. Name one time we had to vote for those. Name one time you had to vote for Xanax, Percocet, Ritalin, anything, bro. Name one time that ever happened. I haven't even been on Earth that long, but I know we had to vote several times to even have a discussion about cannabis.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so I think it's crazy that people, we're watching a change in generational, really. You know what I'm saying? Because
yes, most definitely.
watching these seniors get involved is major. You know what I mean? Like my mother's not a cannabis user ever. You know what I'm saying? But to know that we can even have conversations right now is showing that there are slight changes happening in generation, especially in our community, because that's one big hindrance when it comes to us even thinking about cannabis past being criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like we still got grandmamas, great grandmamas, and uncles. You know what I'm saying? Telling us about how you better hide that. You know what I'm saying? Like what you doing smoking that weed? You know what I'm saying? We still got that.
Because most people don't even know why cannabis is illegal. Most people don't even know the history behind it. Cannabis is illegal because of one speech by one guy, pretty much. Harry Aslinger. Yeah. He stated that when a person consumes cannabis, it makes a name like Aslinger. Yeah, Aslinger. Yes, basically. Exactly. Yeah. He stated that when an African American man consumes cannabis, it makes him more likely to engage in sexual acts and violent acts against a white person. It makes a black man have eyes for a white woman. Mm-hmm. They gave a speech to a National Drug Committee and said that when a white woman consumes cannabis, she is more profound to have eyes for a black man.
You know what else they said too? Stay out of jazz clubs, because jazz clubs is where all that weed gonna be at.
Yep, so what they did was correlate it with heroin. Yep. And they made it illegal, and there we go. But
they changed. Hey, you know what? Since we on history lessons, they changed the word too. It went from cannabis to marijuana.
Yes, and marijuana is actually a derogatory term.
Yeah, they
aimed towards Latinos.
Yeah, they placed that on Latinos, man. It's been a conspiracy for that long.
Marijuana.
Hand it to Latinos. Say they giving it to blacks, and they all ruining whites.
Exactly.
in that order.
Reefer is just another slang term. Yeah. Like in Atlanta, they call it gas. Over here they may call it flour. Over here they call it bud. Over here we call it paper. It's just different slang and terminology. But the terminology that we all need to talk about is cannabis. Yeah. Because look at us as a community. And not even just from the pharmacological aspects of it, but from the healthcare aspects of it. Look at from the business. I tell everybody, people think to get into the cannabis business, you have to grow or sell cannabis, and that is not true.
Not true at all.
We're in the cannabis business right now. We're not growing or selling anything.
Nah, and being very, very good at it.
Exactly. because people think about when they get into cannabis, they think they got to have a lot of money. For a lot of the permits and things of that nature in the different jurisdictions around the country, because I follow each state independently, and a lot of them, there's a lot of finance that comes into it, but really the right team is more important than money. Yeah. Because you can have a lot of money in the wrong team in this, and you will fail. Yeah. Because the cannabis industry is an ocean of sharks. When you get into it and you're asking questions, because a lot of people don't want to share.
Hey, well, all businesses like that for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So we're basically going to be a dog-eat-dog world with there. Let's talk about Georgia for a minute, man. Okay. We know that medical marijuana is something that you can access in Georgia. Yes. Now you can access it in the flower form. It's got to be its form of CBD oil. Yes. The only actual dispensary we have in this whole state is Halcyon.
Yeah, and that is correct.
That's the only place we have in the state.
That's appalling, and I'm proud of Halcyon. Thank you so much for your continued efforts, because you save lives each and every day.
They do.
And with that, they need to open that up to have African American growers.
Well, that was where I was about to go. You know what I'm saying? So with House Bill 722, that clearly failed. Yes. So, but I know that Alan Peake and I know the state reps are busy trying to figure out a way that they can actually expand access for patients. Mm-hmm. How do you feel like it's likely for this to actually happen though in Georgia? Because I hear so many contrary feelings about it. It's clear that it should happen. You got Florida going medical. You know what I'm saying? You got plenty of places happening. Yeah. This is Black Hollywood, so clearly we have people who come through Medicaid, and you can't have Matthew McConaughey come down here and catch a charge. You know what I'm saying?
Who was it? Reese Witherspoon that caught a charge that time?
You know what? I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? But
don't quote me on that.
It's not hard for you to do. So, but what do you feel like the chances of we seeing Georgia go medical possibly, or even expand what we have? Do you think that's going to be an actual option we see, or something we're going to see in the next maybe 2 to 4 years happen down here?
Absolutely. Okay. As far as, because when people think cannabis in the state of Georgia, the first thing that comes to their mind is legalization. Yeah. Everybody running around the street with 10-foot plants. But what we have to focus on is legalization takes another decade or so.
Exactly.
For us, that's after we create reform already. Mm-hmm. We will have to focus on decrim bills and reform. Yes. And a lot of people don't like the term decrim, but like you said, with the upcoming mayoral candidates and things of that nature, look at the city of Clarkston, state of Georgia, and I'm happy you brought this up. in order for us to promote any change, to make anything happen, you have to get out here and advocate. There's a prime opportunity this Sunday. It's called the Wild Hog Supper. It's the 55th annual Wild Hog Supper.
Is this normal? Normal's doing that?
They're a part of it. This is their 4th year attending, and it's actually to sponsor the Atlanta Food Bank. And this is the dinner if you want to meet any political personnel, you want to speak with them, promote any agendas. It is a meet and greet. It is online. Look online. Tickets are $25 in advance, $30 at the door. Peachtree Normal will be there in representation. I will be there to answer any questions regarding cannabis as far as reform and the medicinal aspects, as well as many other opportunities to meet with a lot of people. We encourage everyone to come out and meet your lawmakers, meet your legislative personnel before they take office. Come out and propose some different agendas before this upcoming House session. This is paramount for us to get. A lot of these people have never heard of these ideas. We have a lot of these elected officials never heard of normal. They've never heard that we have a cannabis agenda here in Atlanta, because this is something that personally offended me earlier this year. And back to African, like you said, the Black Hollywood. The CDC did a report early last year that said 1 in 52 African Americans in Metro Atlanta have the HIV virus. Okay, that's bad.
That's terrible.
They compare Atlanta, Georgia to third world countries.
I was about to say, that's third world countries.
Well, I've been to some third world countries. I've been to 14 different countries, and that offends me because I am a Georgia native and I am an African American male, and I'm also a healthcare provider. So the problem is that we've identified the problem. So that's what you need to do. 2, we identified who has it, the patients who have tested positive. 3, we know what needs to be done, but the problem is no one's doing anything. When they released that report, everybody texted about it and talked about it, but no one did anything after that. If Atlanta, Georgia is the HIV African American capital of America, why isn't it the HIV treatment capital of America?
With the CDC being here.
Because 66% of all HIV positive and AIDS patients consume cannabis. They all admit to consuming cannabis to help with the side effects of the disease. Like they say that the medication, it helps. That really just masks signs and symptoms. They don't actually promote overall, the health care of the patient.
You're hitting on a lot of points here, brother, and that's why I had you come out. So you know what? But you kind of touched on one thing, and I know we got to take a break soon, so we got to jump to a video. But we gonna circle back to this one, because one thing you brought up was the activism and getting people involved and knowing what's going on. We need to have a conversation about how we're gonna get people actually involved and not continue this process of people talking to each other. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't have
Get out. Don't be afraid to
we have to
advocate.
stop this circle of a group of professionals sitting in a room having a conversation with each other, believing that that's outreach. That's not outreach.
Yes, and another problem that I found out, especially with engaging in the youth, because at Peachtree Normal, they've tasked me with reaching out and getting the youth, with getting the college students, the African Americans, the urban community, because your average person arrested for cannabis is probably going to be wearing jeans or a fitted hat, some sneakers. These are the people we need at these meetings, because when I get to these advocacy meetings and we go out and we're at Atlanta Gay Pride Festival, I'm usually the youngest person at the meetings. Usually the only black male a lot of times, and I think that most people just are afraid to get out there. We're here to let you know you're not alone. Get out here and help us. I'm proposing that we get out there for the Falcon game, man, for the playoff game. I say cannabis. I'm a huge proponent for cannabis for concussions, CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Let's get out there and advocate at the Falcons game.
Let's get out there and advocate at the Falcons game. Let's see how that go. All right, so we're gonna be back in a second. We're gonna cut to his videos, man. I know we got Joel Santana. He got a new one called Bandana Santana. I could already hear that in the rhyme, and I ain't heard the song yet. So check out the video. We're gonna be back with my man Stanley. There's gonna be some clouds in the air because we finally cleared the room out. Higher level of conversation in here. Cash Color Cannabis, live hiphopdaily.tv. Peace. All right, welcome back to Cash Color Cannabis. We're still at Live Hip Hop Daily Studios. We on Walker Street right now. Windows are wide open. Got my man I got my man Stanley, the TheCanniMedic here. As you see, Stanley's starting to get to the TheCanniMedic part of his life right here. Again, that's one of them things that's open and we cool with down here. And it's one of the reasons why we actually have large audiences whenever we come through. It's like we having our own showcases and everything. So
stay medicated.
Yeah, man. So we back, man. Stanley's been here. We been dropping some strong words and some strong knowledge on us, man. But I told you I wanted to speak about one thing in particular in this next segment, and that's actual outreach. You know what I'm saying? And when I say actual outreach, I mean we all just saw what happened with the election, right?
Yes.
I've been actually working in nonprofits since 2013. I used to work for Progress. I ran the Community Voters Project office in Decatur down here. I worked for Tom Brown's campaign. I worked for a couple of campaigns, long story short. But if you was out in these streets and you was actually doing like voter registration and things like that and speaking to people, you would have knew a long time ago that Hillary Clinton wasn't going to win. Not necessarily Hillary Clinton wasn't going to win, but the sentiment on the streets was people wanted something different. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't necessarily need to be Hillary Clinton. That's why Bernie Sanders was popular. Like, can you wrap your head around 8 years of Bernie Sanders? That man would have been like 92 years old.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It was one of the older candidates.
Yeah, that's how Bernie Sanders got popular.
More aged candidates.
The streets were definitely asking for a different situation. You know, I even tell people, like, if Joe Biden would have ran, Joe Biden would have lost. It was still too much of the same thing. So we didn't luck up, but we got some guy now who's different. You're about to see what different doesn't do sometimes. But when you out here, you listen to people be upset. You know that these people are upset because people weren't reaching out to them.
Yeah,
leading all the way up to the actual campaign. Like, the outreach was kind of arrogant. You just kind of assumed what people were going to do, and that's never something you want to do. I feel like that's happening in the cannabis industry, and I feel like I hear people speak about trying to get more people involved, more youth of the minorities, more women, more this, more that. I'm like, so when you're gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? Like when is that actually going to happen?
Now.
It's not that hard to actually reach out to people when you are actually trying to reach out to people. But what you do see a lot of are people having conversations with themselves. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily
you and I right now.
It's not necessarily a negative thing. You know what I'm saying? But eventually you're gonna have to open a conversation. You can't have a room full of professionals in the cannabis industry discussing how to get more people involved in the cannabis industry if y'all haven't even got more people to come to your event. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's only 15 people and these 15 people are all in your organization, and you haven't done a good job of getting these people more into your organizations, how are you going to get more people involved in this industry? You know what I'm saying? Start working on outreach. How can we work on actual outreach, man? Getting out here and getting to these people who are not necessarily at GSU or at Morehouse, but these people who are on Campbellton. You know what I'm saying? These people who are around the corner right now, Mechanicsville, standing in front of gas stations selling weed outside. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that changes are coming from state to state to state to state, and they're eventually going to come here, and you're going to be extinct. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? It's a new economy coming. So how can we really get these brothers and sisters involved? How can we really start looking out for outreach? And how can we do it without necessarily, and again, the thing I hate, how can we do it without having to say what celebrity we going to tag our names to? Like, that's, again, not outreach. That's you begging.
Yeah, pretty much name dropping.
Yeah, it's name dropping. Like.
Oh, well, I thought that same thing when I got into this. I was I never had social media before I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
When I got sick, I figured, when I found cannabis, I was like, I got to be the only person. You know, I'm the only person that took cannabis on their own, went through the withdrawals from the opioids and the Oxycontin, and I joined social media.
Yeah.
I set up an Instagram account. I set up a Facebook account, and I started networking, and I started seeing how people move. And I think the only way that we're going to get everyone out and get us out there is to physically get out there. That is why I physically do this each and every day. If I see a young man or a young woman coming out in the gas station buying a pack of cigarillos, I stop and have a quick chat with them. I keep the normal cards, the sign-up cards to say we support no one should be in jail for a plant.
Yeah.
You know, the decriminalization bills, these cards go to the Attorney General's office. I reach out to people like you. You know, we have to attend these events. The problem is with a lot of people, I think that they're honestly afraid to come out. I think that we call it the cannabis closet. So they're afraid to come out of the closet, you know, because I have so many people, so many followers that will never click like, they'll never click share, they will never comment, but they will slide right in my DM and ask a question. So what I do is, we're physically, like you and I say we get out there and we start now. 2017 is about to be the biggest year for cannabis in Atlanta, Georgia. You have my word, you have the word of the people behind me, because together we cannabis. There are people you can connect with. Ebony Knight, she's a huge advocate for the National Women's Alliance.
What's up, Eb? Yeah,
Ebony, we love you, Ebony. Yeah. Ebony Knight Media. She's on Instagram at @TheEbonyKnight. Knight. She is their new National Women's President. A big announcement coming up. She's having the NWA meeting next month here in Atlanta. Details to follow soon. I'll be posting on Instagram at TheCanniMedic, also at @TheEbony Knight. We got males in the industry. Coach Smoke. Shout out to Coach.
Coach.
These guys are working to putting together like-minded individuals for a common purpose. Yeah. Because together we will fail. together we'll succeed, but apart we'll fail at all this. You know, it's not a money grabbing thing, because in order to succeed, you have to have a passion. You know, and if you just say, I want to make some money, you're going to fail. And we will watch you fail. Yeah. But if you have a genuine passion for this and a genuine passion to see us succeed, because 64% of all cannabis arrests in Georgia are African American for simple possession.
Hey, man. You know, and that's one thing we do got to be aware of. It's another reason why, again, it's important that we have people like Senator Vincent Ford and others come out to these events that we're putting on, because that's outreach. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to not just bypass this group of people who you keep saying you need to come vote. Like, I want you to actually come out here and be this and actually speak to these people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's real out here right now. Like, if you really walk in these streets, people are asking for help. And if you are telling them you're going to help, it'll be nice at least if you went to speak to them.
Yes, because we have.
It'd be nice if you went to do that. At least.
Everybody says what they want to do. Everybody wants to promote change. Everybody wants to see change. But at the end of everything, all the tweets, the videos, the snaps, what are you physically willing to get out and do? If you want to talk about cannabis, follow me at TheCanniMedic. I have a Instagram page, a Twitter, Facebook page. We want to talk, let's meet up. I'm willing to meet up anywhere, everywhere. You want to meet on the corner? We can meet up. Let's advocate.
All right, that's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate you coming through tonight, man. You already gave everybody your Twitter handle, your Instagram handles, your social media handles, and everything. I definitely appreciate you coming through and dropping some knowledge. Definitely put something in the air for everybody in the crowd. I mean, clearly, if you are just in the crowd, you clearly gonna walk away with a contact tonight. It's not my fault, though.
I tell you what, if everybody asks me all the time, people say, "Man, you lucky." I get all these comments, "Man, you're lucky." I'm not lucky. I'm thankful. You know, I'm humbled in this. I tell everybody, if you want to learn more about cannabis, go to the 50% off bookstore. These cannabis books that I learned from, the Cannabis Grow Bible, the extraction books, I buy these books and I read them. You know, they call cannabis the go nowhere drug because most people smoke it and go nowhere. Well, we're going to smoke it and go everywhere. Don't play 2K. Pick up a book.
Hey, man, my man dropping sayings and everything. You better trademark that, put it on a t-shirt. All right, so we're going to move into the next video, man. We're going to wrap it up for the night. Again, Stanley, I appreciate you for coming out, brother.
Man. Thank you.
Hop, I appreciate you again for the hospitality.
Thank you
one
jars,
more time over here.
A nice gift from my guy Machiavelli right
here. Let me shout them. Yo, thank you very much for Dope Jars, it's called?
Yeah, Dope Jars.
Dope Jars. Appreciate this. This is dope. I'm going to go home and add this to the collection of everything. But so we about to fade out. Shout out to the girl Kamaya. She's been doing work, boy. Like I don't know if you heard her on YG's album. I don't know if you heard her on mixtapes. I don't know if you heard her on Insecure, but she's got a lot of music. She's got a lot of talent. She's gonna be going a lot of places in 2017. She just dropped a video called Freaky Freaks. Check it out. That's that, man. Live Hip Hop Daily, Cash Color Cannabis. Follow us online too at Cash Color Cannabis on Instagram, at Live Hip Hop Daily on Instagram, Twitter, and everything else. So we'll be back next Tuesday, 9 p.m. And right now, watch the video. Check us out on the replay. We out. Cash Color Cannabis. Peace.